Welcome to Gen Con 2018. Roll for Crit here to give you the hottest news. And this time we're talking about one of the games that has been very attractive for a lot of people and was actually a Kickstarter a while back. This is the Reckoners from Novu. This game, actually, instead of playing in a world of where there's heroes and villains, it's really anyone who has superpowers sort of becomes corrupt and becomes a villain. You will be playing as sort of the task force against them in the city of Chicago, I believe it was. It's Chicago, but it's been taken over by pretty much the Superman equivalent in that world, Ironheart. Steelheart, my mistake. Different metals. And your job is to research him to find his weakness, because as of right now, he's invulnerable, and then defeat him. But of course, he has his own sort of henchmen, I guess you could say, sort of different parts of the city who are controlling it, other powered people who they, in turn, also need to be defeated, or else things are going to spiral out of control.
Yeah, so it's a cooperative game, you're all working together, and essentially it's a dice rolling game, and you're going to use your dice for different actions. They actually have symbols on them. Each symbol corresponds to a different action you can take. So for example, you can try to clear some of his minions off of the different parts of the board. You can use your symbols for money to buy new upgrades, new cards that the whole group can use. You could get special tokens that give you sort of a wild card for any symbol you want, or you can use symbols sometimes as movement, of course, to move around. And it's not actually a board. It's these game trays that are there that have different slots in them and cards that slide into them. And those are your locations, and you can move into different parts of those. And that's everything, including your own character board as well has one for that, which has slots for your dice. It's all 3D, has depth to it. Everything fits into the right place very nicely. It has a nice look to it. The presentation is very high quality, I think.
If you like any of those things where things fit nicely in and everything is in place, that's really important and really great in this game. Mm-hmm. But another cool thing is you really can't affect things outside the location you're in, but if you are sharing a location with another person, in essence, you are sort of pooling your die results. So really, this game isn't a roll your dice, your turn is done, next person rolls a dice. You're really all rolling at the same time and deciding how to re-roll them or what to keep, and you can sort of share resources, especially because you may get some items or special abilities that allow you to maybe affect neighboring locations.
Yeah.
So you really do then want to be like, okay, maybe we should keep that because you'll be able to affect my location to take down the shield that's preventing me from defeating the powered monster there.
Right, and everyone has their own special powers as well, so someone who specializes in a certain thing, you might want to say, oh, you should go over here and do this, whereas I'll stay here and do this, or I really need help, or right now the guy's about to destroy us, so you need to really keep him in check, so please go over there.
But they're not going to take it lying down. Steelheart will be actually moving around the city, strengthening wherever he goes with sort of his secret police force, in addition to sort of the henchman captain who's there. They, in turn, will actually be doing different things that will increase Steelheart's sort of powers, because at each round, they're going to trigger certain powers, such as increasing his thing, and then Steelheart's going to place troops, place barricades, which won't let you move in and out of the areas unless you give up a dice for them, killing the people of Chicago, which is counted as 40, and sort of destroying your secret bases, which is giving up dice that you'll have to repurchase back.
Yeah.
So it's this big back and forth, and honestly, it's one of those games which a good cooperative game does, in which you have to decide where do we need to focus and what sacrifices can we make.
Yeah, it's definitely one that will give you a good challenge for sure, and you know, if you're okay with that, then I think you're going to be okay with this. Usually that's what you're looking for in a cooperative game. We didn't get to play a full game, but I think we were actually doing pretty well in our maybe the first half or so of the game that we got to play, even though it felt like he was really coming down on us. We actually played on easy mode, so
yeah,
I can imagine it gets even worse.
This does have harder modes, and we should mention that a lot of times when we were told about this, it was compared to a puzzle game.
Feels like that.
That's, I think, a good cooperative game does have that feeling of like, how do we solve this puzzle? And it does it in a way that doesn't feel like you could just alpha game your way through as much. You really have to work together, but like, well, if I roll this, what do you think you get? Well, I rolled this, unfortunately, so I didn't get that, so how can we deal with that roll? Well, what if you sacrifice that with your ability? and you start talking like that instead of just the one person just roll, 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 done.
No, it doesn't feel like there's a solution to the puzzle, because there are a lot of things that could come in and change things up as you play. Different enemies are going to come out. Every time that you kill one, a new one comes on the scene, and some of them have different effects, different powers you need to worry with, so there's always something different to keep you on your toes.
Right, and also, of course, what comes out for buying, and basically what you roll, too, because there was times when I'm like, all right, I've got this, because my guy was really good at taking out the heroes, or the powered people. I forget what they're called in their world.
They're powered people.
That's what they were called, the epics. And I didn't roll the doubles I wanted as much, so that would really, I had to use more time and resources to get those instead of what I expected. But another cool thing that we mentioned is one of the epics, for example, in terms of randomness, turned out to heal his neighbors, which threw us through a loop, and we're like, okay, we need to, because we were going to focus on some different people, we had to focus on this guy now, or else he's going to pretty much buff and tank those two neighbors before we can kill them.
Yeah, one of those classic scenarios. So you have to figure out, how do you prioritize? What's the best thing you can do? Because, of course, you're not going to be able to do everything. You got to pick and choose your path.
And what's interesting is these epics, some of them are invincible until you research them down enough until they hit a life. When others do have like maybe 6 life, for example, but they have a research of 3, and if you research 3, they'll go down to 3. So then there might be a thing of, do we just straight overpower them? Or do we try to research them first to help their health down low?
And that's the same thing with the final boss, who you also have to research a bunch using your research action before you can even try to attack him. He actually is totally invulnerable until you get past that part. So that's your end game goal.
Yeah, overall I can see why this is extremely popular. This does go for $100, but I believe if you pre-order on their site now, you can still get the Kickstarter exclusives.
Yeah,
I think they said most of it that we saw, except for a couple cards, and I think the chips that are wild would be what you expect. So you'll still get all the cool trays and stuff. But this definitely, if you really love cooperative games and that, and maybe something different in the superhero, so to speak, genre, because even though they're not superheroes, that feels like it belongs there.
Yeah.
I think this is a great game to take a look at.
Yeah, it seems really fun. The puzzle aspect, like you said, was really cool, and the pieces in the presentation was really nice. I have no familiarity with the series it was based on, series of novels, but it seems like it definitely captures the flavor of a world of epics, as it were. So that's The Reckoners. Like and subscribe for more Gen Con 2018 coverage.
And enter our contest for a chance to win some Gen Con games in the description down below.